Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning's class, which is taken from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 3, and we're going to do texts 112, 113, and 114, which will bring us to the end of the chapter, and then go on to the next chapter, chapter 4, and do text 1. So without further ado, we'll start the class now. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vrajajanarandana Yashodanandana Vrajajanarandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Navallava Girivardhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vrajajanarandana Yashodanandana Vrajajanarandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Jagana Jaya Jagana Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Nitai Gora Chandra Nitai Gora Chandra Nitai Gora Chandra Gora Hari Jaya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Nitai Gora Haribo 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 Nitai Gora Haribo Nitai Gora Haribo 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 Nitai Gora Haribo Jayam Vishnupad Paramhansa Privajikacharya Astotara Satyasishi Maharaj Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupad Paramhansa Privajikacharya Astotara Satyasishi Maharaj His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavini Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivacharya Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Jagannathpuri Dham Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Chamuna Mai Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhaktavinda Ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi, Hare Hare Bo. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prestaya, Bhutale, Srimate Bhakti Swami Nitinamini. Namaste Krishna Padaya, Prabhupada Stapani, Sri Guru Karma Shakti Bhakti. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna. Good morning, dear devotees. Please accept humble obeisances. All glories to see the power part. So we begin with Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, chapter 3, text 112. Ei shtokera atakari shankshipera sara bhaktera ischaya Krishna rera sava avatar. Eishtokera atakahi Shankshipera Sara Bhaktera Ichaya Krishnera Sava Avatara. Eishtokera atakahi Shankshipera Sara Bhaktera Ichaya Krishnera Sava Avatara. Hare Krishna. Anyone who wants to chant can do so now. Okay. All right, we'll go to the word for word. This, shlokera of the verse. Artha, the meaning. Kahi, I relate. Shankshepera, of conciseness. Sara, the pit. Bhaktera, of the devotee. Ichchaya, by the desire. Krishnera, of Lord Krishna. Sarva, all. Avatar, incarnations. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. The essence of the meaning of this verse is that Lord Krishna appears in all his innumerable eternal forms because of the desires of his pure devotees. We'll go on to the next one, text 113. Chatuta shlokera ata hoila sunishkite avatina hoila gora preme prakashite. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Thus, I've surely determined the meaning of the fourth verse. Lord Gauranga, Lord Chaitanya, appeared as an incarnation to preach unalloyed love of God. Next one, text 114. Shri Rupa Raghunatha Pade Yara Asha Chaitanya Charitamrita Kahi Krishna Dasa. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purport to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, 3rd chapter, describing the external reasons for the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Next verse. So this is Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 4, the confidential reasons for the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So text 1. Shri Chaitanya Prasadena Tadrupasya Vinirnayam Valopi Kurute Shastrang Rispa Praja Vilasina. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. By the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even a foolish child can fully describe the real nature of Lord Krishna, the enjoyer of the pastimes of Braja, according to the vision of the revealed scriptures. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. One can ascertain the meaning of this Sanskrit shloka only when one is endowed with the causeless mercy of Lord Chaitanya, or Sri Krishna, being the absolute personality of Godhead. Lord Sri Krishna, being the absolute personality of Godhead, cannot be exposed to the mundane instruments of vision. He reserves the right not to be exposed by the intellectual feats of non-devotees. Notwithstanding this truth, even a small child can easily understand Lord Sri Krishna and his transcendental pastimes in the land of Vrindavan by the grace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Oma Gnati Virandasya Gyana Gyanashalakaya Chakshu Amlitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Mudati Swapadattika Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaisnavam Shicha Shri Rupa Sakajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tan Sajiva Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanusute Devi Paramani Hari Priye Vanchaka Patru Vishya Kripa Sindhivye Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirveshesha Sunnivari Paschatya Deshitayani Namo Mahabhadanaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Gurachache Namaha Ananda Lilamaya Vigrahaya Himavya Divacha Vishendraya Tasmi Mahaprema Raskandaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Hare Krishna. So we'll go back to the previous verse. My computer is a little slow this morning. I'll go back and see if it will take me all the way to the end. Yeah. Okay. All right. The best thing to do. Yeah. Sorry, I have to just try to get this thing working properly. I go back to 114. No, that's not the right place. Anyway, Oh, we're still at Adi Lila 4. Okay, good. So this is 4:1, but initially, chapter 3, text 114, the translation starts with text 112, sorry. The essence of the meaning of this verse is that Lord Chaitanya appears in all his innumerable forms because of the desire of his pure devotees. This statement is a very, very, very important statement showing us the link between Krishna and his pure devotees. It is a link, a relationship of love between the Lord and his pure devotees. The pure devotees think about Krishna, as they say, 24/7, all of the time. Srila Prabhupada has said in one of his lectures, a short statement that was taken out of his lecture. He said, pure devotees think about Krishna all of the time. If you want to be a pure devotee, that is the way to go, to think about Krishna all of the time. When you're awake, when you're sleeping, you pray to the Lord to use the subtle body that becomes active in the dream form to also serve the Lord. And then go to sleep. We go to sleep reading about something spiritual, which is for my own purification too, because we tend to just go so much connection that is there between us and the material energy, get distracted sometimes. But purity very much goes along with thinking about the Lord all of the time. So Lord Krishna appears in his innumerable eternal forms because of the desires of his pure devotees. Now, the desires of his pure devotees. The Lord appears in many innumerable forms, and they're all eternal. Now, depending on the connection that the pure devotee has with a particular incarnation of the Lord grants that pure devotee that boon of relating in that particular form. The Lord appears in that form, and every appearance of the Lord has a particular pastime with it. For example, when he appeared as Lord Nrsingadev, he was to save Prahlad from the nefarious activities, horrible activities by his father Hiranyakashipu on him, Prahlad, when he was only 5 years old, just because Prahlad was a devotee of the Lord. The devotee protects, meaning the Lord protects his devotee, and the devotee puts themselves at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That should be our mood. When pure devotees act in a certain way, they act so that we can follow what they do and follow their instructions. And to the extent that we can do those things, we will do also because we're learning then from them. It is very, very important that we understand that. Because the pure devotees are chargers. They teach and they also show. They tell, as they say in America, show and tell. They show, they also tell. Lord Chaitanya was like that. He came, he talked about chanting the holy names of the Lord, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and he showed it every day in Navadvip, going out and chanting the holy name with his pure and confidential associates. Therefore, we also should be chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day. If not in the kirtan form, definitely our japa. We are required to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra on our japa beads every single day. So anyone who is listening now, if you don't have japa beads, please make sure you get one. Connect with a temple that sells, or go online to krishna.com. There are stores, online stores that will give you one. It is very, very important to get one of those and chant 108 rounds on the beads as many times of the day, as many times as you can, and as many times a day also that you can chant. Lord Chaitanya said there are no hard and fast rules for chanting the holy name. So Advaita Acharya was the one that was talking about the meaning of the verse. The meaning of the verse, he himself was using tulsi leaf and Ganges water to get the Lord to come. And Lord came later as Lord Chaitanya. But it was loud, incessant callings by Advaita Acharya. And as he was calling, because it says here, the first one is the essence, the meaning of the verse is that Krishna appears in his eternal form, the essence of the meaning of this verse. So there's a verse that was Advaita Acharya thinking about how to satisfy the Lord with prayer. And as he was thinking, this is the previous verses to 112, the thought came to his mind, that the Lord gives himself to the devotee who worships him with tulsi leaves and water. Patram puspam phalam toya. Little fruit, little water, a flower, and a leaf, tulsi leaf. He says the one that worships him with devotion, these 4 items, that he would definitely accept them, the worship, and accept those who are worshiping also as the devotee and the committed devotee to the Lord. The importance of tulsi cannot be stressed, moreover stressed. It is very, very important in our worship that we always use tulsi leaf. So make arrangements to get tulsi leaf. If you don't have a tulsi plant, or try to find out how to cultivate tulsi plant and have one in your house. It is very, very auspicious, and there's so much advantage to having tulsi leaves to serve the Lord with. So in text 113, then it said, thus I've surely determined the meaning of the 4th verse. Lord Gauranga appeared as incarnation to preach unalloyed love of God. Lord Chaitanya appeared so that we would learn how it is like to be a devotee, what a devotee is supposed to do. So he was showing, and he was also giving Krishna Prema freely. He was giving Krishna Prema freely. Krishna Prema is not so easy to obtain. But when we chant the holy name of the Lord and get into it with our hearts, then the love of Godhead begins to open up. This is also along with the devotee feeling very happy inside. All of that happens. And so the Lord appearing in such an incarnation, those are the external reasons to preach the unalloyed love of God and get us to follow that same method that he was using. And in text 114, which we'll spend a short time on there, it shows the humility of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. He was the one that was writing Chaitanya Charitamrita. So then he says, praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, 2 of the 6 Goswamis, who were also disciples of Lord Chaitanya, and desiring their mercy, I, Krishnadas, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita following in their footsteps. Very, very, very important. It's a very, very, very important prayer of humility. Praying at the lotus feet of a devotee. We should pray at the lotus feet of our spiritual masters, Diksha as well as Shiksha Gurus. They're the ones that guide us. We cannot develop Krishna consciousness in our hearts to any extent without the guidance of the spiritual masters. It is not possible to do it. They give us the medicine. They give us the direction. And they're connected to the parampara. Therefore, if we serve them, then we're serving the servants of the servants of the servants of the Lord. The gurus regard themselves as the servant of his guru. Any guru like that and who is a servant of his guru, who is a servant of his guru. So there's a long chain of disciplic succession who have all preached Krishna consciousness in a very bold and in their own style. And we follow down to Srila Prabhupada and then to our spiritual masters, unless you are a direct disciple of Srila Prabhupada also. So we should feel fortunate that we have the medicine, that when we take it, it takes us out of this material world, back to the spiritual world, back home. And now to this chapter, the chapter 4, and this text 1, which is now on the screen. By the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even a foolish child can fully describe the real nature of Lord Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There was one devotee, Mataji in ISKCON, and a child, very young at that time, would go around asking people, do you know who God is? Do you know who God is? God is Krishna. So even at a very, very young age, when Srila Prabhupada describes foolish child, it does not mean that a child is ignorant. It just means that the child is not that developed mentally. They play around, they do all kinds of stuff. Children do all kinds of nonsense things, but we just excuse them. They don't have much fully developed brain. This is just the body they have at the time. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead can appear in the mind and the heart of even a child who is that young. So that is this lesson to us that our children, even when they are in the womb, the mother that is pregnant should be around Krishna consciousness activities. It is very, very, very important. So that when the child is born, they've already heard quite a bit of lectures, quite a bit of kirtans, quite a bit of chanting, and they know. And it is known now that the words that get repeated a lot when the child is in the womb, those are the words that the child will, in fact, begin to speak when they start speaking, because they've heard it so many times. So when the pregnant mother chants Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, the child is hearing. The child is hearing the mantra. And so when they come out, and the parents take the child to the assembly of devotees, it doesn't take much for the child to start jumping up and down and also chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, and chant it perfectly. The Lord has come in Kali Yuga in his name. So the Lord's name and the Lord are the same. So when we chant Hare Krishna, we have the Lord. And so the child that describes the Lord by chanting Hare Krishna, they fully understand Krishna then. So this is how this is being described by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, one can understand the meaning of this when one is endowed with the causeless mercy of Lord Chaitanya. So as we talked about, even in the womb, the mother takes the child, takes herself, and therefore the child in the womb, to places where the Lord's name and activities and pastimes of the Lord are being described. It is such a blessing to the child that's in the womb, because they come out already pro-Krishna. And whatever you see around the world, they will see some things, yes, because material world is what it is, but they will still connect with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and feel very comfortable chanting his name. Lord, Srila Prabhupada also says that the Lord cannot be exposed to mundane instruments of vision, and he reserves the right not to be exposed by, not to expose himself to non-devotees. For that, in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 25, Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavrita udoyam nabijanati loko mam ajam avyayam. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, knowledge of the absolute, and text 25. The translation is, I'm never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them, I'm covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and infallible. Unborn and infallible. Krishna, as Lord Brahma describes him, Anadi Adi Govinda. He doesn't have a beginning, therefore he's unborn, but he's the beginning of everything and everyone. And those who try to use their own intellectual ways to try to define who God is, or worse, don't even believe in God at all. The Lord is not going to push them to think differently, because people have their own minute independence. And from that independence, they can choose to think whatever they want to think. The Lord will not interfere with that. But a little bit of intelligence would show that the Lord is in control, and the Lord is, in fact, the beginning of everything. All you have to do is look around you. Nobody on this earth manifested nature. Nobody. And nobody can. When people try to even imitate or come up with some synthesized artificial product that resembles something in nature, they have so much difficulty even getting that. And I know that having done some research in chemistry, I can speak for that part of science, that sometimes people try to come out with, when they find out that in nature there is some medicine that does some healing, they take it to the lab, they try to break down that particular medicine, and they find out that it has several components to it. And they try to find out which component does in fact clear that disease of a person that has a particular disease. When they're able to do that, and they say, okay, well, we now want to see what the chemical structure of it is, but then they go into trying to find that out. And then when they find that out, they say, okay, well, we're going to try to use smaller molecules to make this natural product and make it cheaper. So then we don't even have to go for the plant or whatever, bark of a tree or whatever that natural product came from. So they try to do that. And most of the time, they wind up with something that's close, but not quite like the nature's one. So clearly there's higher intelligence that's put nature in place. Things just don't appear without someone being behind it. For any machine to work, there has to be an engineer, a person that not only built it, but a person that also controls it. So people who say that the absolute personality of Godhead is not living, they are definitely in Maya. They're an illusion, because the proof is always there, just through nature. So the Lord will not reveal himself to those who are non-devotees. But a person who is even like a small child, a super person, can easily understand Krishna. By the grace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Lord chanted the Hare Krishna mantra, the Lord guided us, Lord Chaitanya. And by devotees connecting with the Lord in that way, then a child that is born to that devotee will also be connected to Lord Chaitanya and be chanting. So the Lord does not reveal himself to the foolish and unintelligent. And he calls them foolish because they are thinking of everything outside of Krishna's control. And that makes them foolish. So he uses Yogamaya the internal potency Yogamaya to cover himself, and these people never understand. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada was even saying, well, now Krishna came to the earth, didn't he? 5,000 years ago? And people saw him. But he is saying that he's not visible. I'm not manifest to them. I'm covered by my internal potency. So they saw a personality, and those who didn't believe in Krishna, who were not devoted to Krishna, thought of him as a special, empowered personality. They saw him as an ordinary human being, but with some power. Some people saw him as they have yogic powers. So they were just looking at Krishna from a material standpoint. But Krishna is not to be looked at from a material standpoint. Therefore, then he was there, but still, they didn't know his nature, therefore they didn't know who he was. And he looked like a human being, 2 hands, 2 legs, and therefore they took him that way. And they never understood. So those are people who see and don't see. They see the personality, but they don't know the extent to which the Lord has power over everything that be. In one example, when the Rajasuya sacrifice was started for Maharaj Yudhishthira in Indraprastha. So when Krishna was chosen to preside over the sacrifice, and Nakul was washing Krishna's feet before the beginning of the yagya, Shishupal burst in, and he started causing a problem by verbally insulting Krishna. Now, when he spoke, trying to again lower Krishna's dignity and the fact that he is supreme over everyone, Bhishma stood up. And Bhishma said, Shishupal, you should stop this. And in so many words, Bhishma definitely cemented or brought the fact out that Krishna that you're seeing there, he looks like a regular personality, but he is a supreme personality of Godhead. The Pandavas also knew that, but not everybody there knew that. So he's not revealed to non-devotees and also the common man. Because the common man consider him to be like themselves, maybe prettier than them, but other than that, they don't think too much over things that happen. And if he's done something that seems to be unusual, it's just yogic powers, other people can have yogic powers. So they don't take the Lord beyond anything that's like that. But the devotees know that he is the maintainer of the entire universe. And that devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the highest principle. So for us, we're being guided in the right direction. And we also know that the Lord is Satchidananda, and that we also are Satchidananda, as far as the soul is concerned. Queen Kunti also said the same thing. Agyad hoksajam avyayam na lakshase buddhadisha nato natya daro yata. Beyond the range of a limited sense perception, Queen Kunti is saying you are eternally the irreproachable factor covered by the curtain of deluding energy. You are invisible to the foolish observer, exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. Nice analogy here given by Maharani Kunti. He says you are invisible to the foolish observer, exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. That reminds me of the series Mahabharata, that what I've heard actually is that the actor that played Duryodhana has had some sort of reprisals put on him by people who he acted so well in the role of Duryodhana that people, when they see him, they think they're looking at Duryodhana, they see all of the roles that he played and they start acting on him. But they're actually an illusion because the guy is just an actor. Hmm? The real Duryodhana is not him. Although that's looking at it from the other standpoint. But Kunti is saying that we are invisible. He's invisible. Krishna is invisible to the foolish observer. Just like an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. Hmm? So Krishna shows so many situations of his pastimes that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When he was little, even in his mother's lap, he killed Putana, a huge demon 12 miles long, on height, I should say, height. Killed him. He killed so many others when he was younger. He lifted the Govardhan Hill, a mountain, and held it up for 7 days with the smallest finger of his left hand. And Shiva Prabhupada explains that he counteracted, see, we know the force of gravity, which causes weight. But Shiva Prabhupada explained that Krishna, by his internal energy, was able to counteract the force of gravity. The force of gravity belongs to him. So he was able to counteract the force of gravity and therefore held the Govardhan Hill like it was nothing. So Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead with all kinds of energies. Still, all of these people who are demons look at Krishna and not give him the credit. And this is still going on. There are some people on the earth now, some of them in different religions, that don't believe as Krishna is a Supreme Personality. So for devotees, it is important to note that we better stay at the lotus feet of the Lord. We better stay at the lotus feet of the Lord. This is where we get our protection. This is where we get everything that we need in order to live, even while we are in this Machaloka, or this part of this planet, who is a collection of planets in the material world. Difficult. We have to work for everything, whereas the spiritual world is supplied for free. Still, when we stay at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and increase our faith, we will receive protection from the Lord. The devotee also must be enthusiastic, regardless of what is occurring. For our own purification, myself included, we should remain enthusiastic regardless of what is happening. Yesterday, we were talking about a financial situation in the world, and we were just, as we were talking, we don't know how this is going to wind up because there's so much falsity. Bad money is pushed away good money. Srila Prabhupada put it that way. Gold is not really, I mean, so much money has been printed. The value of this paper money is actually nowhere near compared to the amount of gold that is supposed to back up this. Yet things are going on, which means things are very fragile. That's why we should stay at the lotus feet of the Lord and increase our faith. The Lord's mercy is greater than the Lord's law. We should remember that. So we should make a sincere effort to chant even while we're not pure yet. His mercy is greater than his law. So if we put in the effort to serve him, he will give us his mercy. Even while we're not pure, there's a chance to go back to Godhead. As I said so many times in different places, Srila Prabhupada was talking in a lecture, and before the end of the lecture, just before the end of the lecture, Srila Prabhupada mentioned about going back to Godhead, that we have to be pure. But the reaction of the devotees taught him something, indicated something different to him. So then he said, well, if you're not 100% pure, but if you're 90% pure, we can arrange for you to go back to Godhead. That means the mercy of the Guru would also be taken into consideration to get the devotees to go back to Godhead. Still looking at the reaction of the devotees, Srila Prabhupada says, then you can be 80% pure, we'll still accept. Then he got up to leave, got up to Vyasa-san, and the devotee still looking at him. He gets to the door, which goes out of the temple room, turns around and tells the devotees, even if you're 70% pure, we would allow you. Krishna will take you back. And then he walked through the door. Now, those three statements, 90%, 80%, 70%, means that if we put in effort, that's the important thing, put in a genuine effort to serve the devotees, serve Guru, and serve Krishna, then the mercy will come to us and we'll also get a chance to go back. So Advaita Acharya has already used tulsi leaves and Ganges water to get the Lord to come. And the Lord came not very long ago, just a little over 500 years ago. And he's taught us how to chant, and now it is on us. The way is open to Goloka Vrindavan. It's on us and how we use our time in serving the Lord and the Lord's devotees. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, this is the point where if devotees want to ask questions, they can unmute themselves and make comments or have takeaways or ask questions. Hare Krishna. Okay.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances of Shri Prabhupada. Thank you for such a wonderful class. I joined the last half, but I'm glad I was able to catch at least a half of it. I was really appreciating the point that you were saying, even a child can describe Krishna and know who Krishna is, that Krishna is God. And I think it all starts from the womb of the mother, and that shows the power of our of association. I feel that's my realization is when we choose the right association from before the child is born, while the child is in the womb of the mother, the child naturally grows to know who Krishna is. But also I think is even after the child is grown, I mean after the child has been delivered from the mother's womb, that is also very important that the parent sees and assures that the child is still in the environment of sadhu sangha, so that they will not forget what they have heard while being in the mother's womb. Because sometimes I was just remembering how Shri Prabhupada says that when the child is in the womb of the mother, the child is actually crying to the Lord, get me out of here, get me out of here, get me out of here. Because they, but once they come out and once they come out of the mother's womb and gets the tinge of the material world, they forget that they were praying in the mother's womb, because they have been exposed to, the material world and whatever it, comes with it. So it's even more important that the parent assures that the child continue to be in devotee association, so that they will always remember the Lord. Because once they come out of the mother's womb, then it's hard to remember that Krishna is God. So I was just thinking how powerful it is that even for devotees of us, there's some of us who did not get the opportunity to have that kind of environment, that it's even more stronger for us to always remember Krishna as much as we can during the day. So I was reflecting on that. Thank you.
Very, very, very important. Yes. The child being in the womb, if you're a devotee, then the devotee mother should expose the child to things on the outside, from the standpoint of the child in the womb. Everything else going on is on the outside. You can hear. But as you said, when they come out, a baby is so helpless that then all kinds of arrangements are made by the parents. But Srila Prabhupada also says then, it is a very, very high chance then that the child may forget about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's why in our homes, we should have all kinds of paraphernalia that remind us about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when the child is even looking around or beginning to crawl around and they see things, they see pictures, then they will know later on through teaching that this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then later on, when they begin to speak, we also have to very speak, then we chant. They'll also begin to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. We also have to be very careful what we have playing in the house, music that's in the house. It should be music that remind us of Krishna, so that the child can also benefit from it. Then they grow, and it's not difficult for them to stay in Krishna consciousness. It all has to do with how we make our home like the temple of the Lord, as we say. Hare Krishna. Are there any other comments or realizations from this? It's getting close to the hour. Maybe a last comments from any of you. Okay.
I wanted to share something that I was very happy, actually, is when I was preparing the schedule for the Bhagavatam classes, for the month of October. And when I was looking at the preface of chapter 4, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada was translating it, I think, for Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and he was mentioning the reasons of Lord Chaitanya's appearance, and I got so excited because I said, oh my God, now we get to hear all the other reasons. The first reason was because of Sri Advaitacharya Prabhu's prayer. I said, now we get to hear the second reason and the third reason, and the first, fourth reason. And it was so nice to really, how fortunate we are to actually be learning and studying these books written by Srila Prabhupada, translated by him, I should say, and sharing to us, because it makes us want to go deeper and deeper to know the different reasons and study it. And also, I was really happy that I could join this other half of the class, because I wanted to hear more. So I was really grateful, that we get to hear the glories of Lord Chaitanya and his appearances.
Very important, yeah. The internal reasons are connected with the mood of Srimati Radharani. And there's 3 reasons given in the just the introduction part to the 4th chapter, and they all connect with the mood of Srimati Radharani and the Lord wanting that type of mood. It's described nicely there, very nicely there. And I know I skipped it on Wednesday into the first text because that was what I was supposed to speak from. But yeah, it would be nice if we go back to just before chapter 4, text 1. There's some description by Srila Prabhupada, of the whole chapter. And he says, actually, the chanting of the holy name that we're doing, that was secondary. Although it is the great thing for us to get back to Godhead, to Lord Chaitanya himself, that was secondary. The primary ones all connect with the mood of Srimati Radharani and Krishna wanting to taste that mood. The love of Godhead, the highest love of Godhead, that is only present in the way Srimati Radharani relates to Krishna. It's called Madhamakya Mahabhav. And it is very, it is actually the embodiment of the other moods of love. There's a whole lecture in itself. There's this Sneha, Mana, and it goes on, Pranaya, Raga, Anuraga, Bhava, and Mahabhav, 7 of them. And then all of them together is in fact what Radharani exhibits, all of them, Madhanaki and Mahabhav. No other person or personality has that ability to show all the different types of prema that Radharani exhibits. So then Lord Chaitanya or Krishna wanted to taste that, and those are the internal reasons. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Anyone else? Okay, so thank you very much for allowing me to do the service, and thank you for coming on to hear. Some of you come on a daily basis, which is wonderful. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Wonderful for us in our growth. So until tomorrow, or during the day, you have a wonderful Krishna conscious day. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam
Patitanam Pavanebhyo
pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
namo
Namo
namaha.
Namaha.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
All right,
Thank you
Hare
so much.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Jai Gaur Srila
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Jai
Hare
Shri
Krishna.
Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Gaur Srila Prabhupada.